Welcome to the Thought Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I'm here to help you break free from anxiety, build unshakable confidence, and create the life that you were born to live. Everything you need is already inside of you. Now let's turn you into a Thought Boss. Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to do this episode because this is one of my highest coached on topics of all time. Every single woman that I've ever helped with anything, she wants to be coached on this topic. So I'm going to do a podcast episode on it. So today we're going to be talking about your marriage, and more specifically, talking about how to like your husband again. I personally think one of the biggest problems with marriages today, or really just one of the biggest things confronting our marriages, is social media. Social media makes it really hard to be happy in our marriage because the algorithm likes to feed us these videos of husbands that are super sweet and they DIY everything and they somehow always have all the time and all the money and all the thoughtfulness. And we watch these videos, even just one of them can throw us into this spiral of like, why am I not good enough? And why am I not pretty enough? And what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong with my husband? And so I want to kind of address some of that today. And I think sometimes when I coach on this topic, people think that what I'm saying is, let's just ignore what all of the quote good husbands are doing and just try to be grateful for the husband that we have. And that's not at all what I'm trying to tell you. So first, I'm going to start off with a really good story to illustrate my point, and I think it's going to be really helpful. So I had this client, this is several years ago, and she came to me just like all my clients do at some point. One session, she was like, I really need to talk about my husband. I'm feeling so frustrated, and I feel like he's not meeting my needs, and it's really hard. So if you've ever felt like your husband is not meeting your needs, or he doesn't get you, he doesn't understand what you need, or he doesn't understand how to do it, then I really need you to pay attention because we've all felt like this at some point or another. So this woman came and she was like, my husband does not meet my needs. I really need good adult conversation, and my husband is never home and he doesn't have time for me and he doesn't listen to me. And even when he does, it seems like he's kind of distracted or he's on his phone and I don't want to get in an argument and tell him to get off of his phone. Anyway, she was feeling very ignored and like she wasn't important because one of her biggest needs was to have somebody listen to her and really understand and like validate her. And anytime that she got that, which was very rare, she just felt so fulfilled. So this client's husband, he worked a lot, maybe 70 or 80 hours a week. And a lot of times he was even gone overnight. He had night shifts. I think he was a firefighter. And she was raising the kids basically by herself. She had a set of twins. She had an older daughter and an older son, and the twins were kind of younger. And they were a handful, like they were taking up so much of her time and so much of her energy. And she really felt like she was not getting enough adult interaction during the day or at night because her husband would come home and he was really tired and the conversations would just kind of fall flat. And she felt like even when he was home, she wasn't feeling like he was meeting this need that she had of really meaningful conversation. So when she came to me like this, of course, if you had gone to therapy, at least couples therapy, like in the movies, the thing that the therapist would say is, okay, sir, are you hearing what your wife is saying? Like she's not feeling heard and she needs to talk and all these things. And in the movies, he would say, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I'll do better at this. And of course they go home and all of his efforts still really aren't enough because they're not genuine and they're not coming from a place of like him really knowing what to do. He just like doesn't want his wife to be mad at him anymore, right? So But we think that we want to bring our husbands to marriage counseling because we want somebody there who's going to say to him, this is how she's feeling, and you need to validate her. And then we're going to feel like, oh, somebody else totally agrees with me that my husband should be treating me different. Like, we all kind of fantasize about that, like him finally being like, oh, it's not just you. Like, this other person is also saying that I'm doing something wrong. And we think that we want that because then we think that we would feel better and our husband would change and everything would be amazing. Here's the problem with life coaching is this woman came to me all by herself. She didn't come with her husband. This was not couples therapy, and he didn't have any interest in couples therapy. And honestly, she didn't really either, because this, for her, she felt like to go to couples therapy to take that kind of time out of their life and to figure out their schedule and pay for it would just not be, it's not, they didn't have so many big issues that she felt like they needed to be in therapy. But this was her one big issue, is she felt like she didn't have the kind of listening ear that she really wanted. So this isn't couples therapy. This is a single person coming as like the person who has a problem with somebody else. And so I can't talk to her husband and I can't say, hey, you're making her feel this way, you need to change, even though we really wish that we could. So here's what I did instead. So we already know it's not possible for me to go in and change other people's actions. And she also can't do that. It's just not possible. We can't change their thoughts. We can't change what they do. And we think we might want to control them, but honestly, we really just want them to do things of their own free will, right? We want him to see what's happening and somehow find deep inside of him that he actually is a really great listener and he's going to just kick that into high gear and be amazing for her. But that's not really possible either. So I feel like what happens in these marriage counseling sessions is you get the husband in a corner and he's like, okay, I've got no other choice but to be like, okay, you're right, I'm going to change, because what else is he supposed to do? So, but when it comes to life coaching, I'm just coaching the wife. But this is a great thing because this means that she can change something that she doesn't like without even telling him about it. So how does she change this? Number one, she has to evaluate this need that she has. She recognizes that this is a very big need of hers, to have adult conversation where the adult sits there and listens and pays attention and wants this conversation. Now, the wife has to ask, is my husband capable of being that person? Like, if my need is like a 10 and he has the capability to listen at like a 1 or a 2, maybe he's not really capable of meeting this need. Now, we don't have to go off the rails and be like, oh my gosh, I have to divorce him, like he can't meet my needs. And we also don't have to go the opposite way where we're like, I'm going to train him to be that person, because that's also very difficult. You married your husband without him being that person. There were other things that you loved that made you marry him. But if you have this great need and he's not good at all at filling that need, maybe we should stop asking him to fill that need. We're not going to go to another guy. We're not going to have an emotional affair. What we're going to do is we're going to find somebody in our life who can fill this need and wants to fill this need and could easily do it. And they're happy to do it. Like, anytime that you see them, it just kind of automatically happens. Like, let's just say you had the need to go shopping with somebody and have them pick out outfits for you, and that just really filled your bucket. Let's just say that was your need, and you happened to have a friend who was really good at shopping, and anytime you guys went, she found something that was perfect for you, and it just naturally happened, and you didn't even have to ask her. I promise you, the needs that you have can be fulfilled by people in your life. There are people in your life right now that can fulfill your needs, and it can happen very, very naturally. Like, you don't even have to ask them. So she's evaluated this need. She's recognized, okay, he's not good at this. So I have to look around and I have to figure out who could actually fulfill this need for me. Now, before you're like, no, this is wrong, her husband should be meeting all her needs, I think we just maybe want to step back and ask, is that really true? And am I fulfilling all of my husband's needs? Like, am I this perfect specimen where we came together and we're this absolute perfect match where all of his deepest needs are my greatest strengths and all of my deepest needs are his greatest strengths? That would be nice, and maybe that works out in fairy tales or movies or something, but it really isn't true for real life. It sounded like something a 3-year-old would say, true for real life. It's not a thing that really happens in real life. And what's interesting is sometimes our needs change, and sometimes our partner's gifts change. And so we're always having to adjust our expectations of the other person. And maybe that's not a problem. Like, maybe it was never meant to be that the husband fulfilled every need that you would ever have. He probably has needs like playing sports. Maybe he loves to play pickleball and you're terrible at it and you don't want to. And so you're like, go find a friend. And he went and he found a friend and he absolutely loves it, and you don't have to fulfill that need. You see how easy it is to be like, hey, you've got a need, I know somebody who can fill it. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to like intimate needs. That's a whole nother episode that maybe we'll talk about another time on the podcast. It's going to be a really personal episode. I definitely coach on that too, but I don't usually put personal examples on the podcast of stuff like that. Anyway, we've got to evaluate if husband can fulfill this need. If the answer is no, we've got to find someone else, and that's okay. Husband can still love you more than anything in the whole entire world and not be able to fulfill this need. So just let go of it. Just decide, okay, I'm going to stop asking him for this. He's not good at it, so I'm going to give him a break. So this client of mine, she actually realized she already had a best friend who was really, really good at this. Like, when they got together, they talked for so long. She felt so fulfilled. She absolutely loved their conversations, and she felt validated and heard, and like she got her fill of adult conversation. So I said, okay, it's your responsibility to make sure that this need is getting fulfilled. So how are you going to make sure that you're spending enough time with this friend? So she planned more lunch dates. She started getting on Marco Polo with this friend. And guess what? If the friend wasn't actually able to fulfill this need, her job would be to find somebody else. Maybe her friend can fulfill half and another friend can fulfill the other half. But you have to go in it with this attitude of, my needs can be met easily and freely, and maybe even without even asking. It's a really empowering thought, and it's very exciting. Some needs you can actually fulfill on your own, like your need for validation, but we're not going to go there today. That's actually another podcast episode I think I've already done. Okay, so what happened with this client when she decided that she was not going to ask her husband anymore to fulfill this need? Well, all of a sudden, he went from being the worst husband in the world to actually being a pretty great husband, because then we started seeing her husband's true gifts instead of looking at this giant gap of what was missing and where we think he should be. Now that gap is gone, and we started looking at what he's actually really good at. And what he was good at is he could take really good care of her. He provided really well for her. She loved that. That really fulfilled a need of hers. He kept her safe. She felt so safe, like just having him as a husband. Even if he wasn't there, she could call him and he was available to answer the phone, and he got them a dog and he got them a security system, and she just felt so safe with him. And that was a huge need of hers because she was worried about a lot of things. And so having a husband who knew how to keep her safe and loved to and did it naturally, that felt really good. So now she realizes, oh my gosh, my husband was always this great, awesome guy, that I wasn't recognizing him for who he really was. I was expecting him to be something else, and I was missing out on this awesome guy that he already was. This totally changed the dynamic of their relationship. She became more independent and really confident and realized that she could meet all of her needs. And through different people, through herself, she absolutely felt so empowered. And he felt all this pressure come off of him. And you know what's really funny is they actually started having better conversations, because the conversations didn't start off with her feeling resentful that he wasn't listening to her. You know, those conversations never really go well. The conversations were a lot easier because she was already happy and she was already feeling fulfilled. And some of those deeper conversations naturally happened. And that was just kind of like this bonus. We don't like switch to, okay, now he's going to fulfill this need. We're just going to be like, hey, if I ever get these conversations from him, that's really cool. Okay, so moving on to the next point. So the second way to make your marriage awesome, to like your husband a lot more, is to stop relying on him for your self-confidence. We are walking around all day with the chatter in our heads being really negative. We look at everything that we do. We're very critical. We only see the things that are going wrong. And then we kind of hope or expect that our husband will come home and be the complete opposite of what we have been being all day long. We hope that he will come home and just say, you're amazing and you're awesome and look at everything you did and I'm so proud of you, and it's okay if these things didn't get done because your value lies in who you really are and not what you've got done. All the things that we're not willing to say to ourselves and we don't even believe ourselves, we want him to say, because then we think that they will be true. Then we think, I'll believe them if he says them. But your voice is just as valid as his. And the relationship that you have with yourself, if it's a negative one, which most of us are in there, it has to be something you've actively worked on in order for it not to be there. And I know that that's hard, but your relationship with yourself has to be healthy if you want your marriage to be healthy. I have been in places before where I felt so awful about myself that I needed constant reassurance from my husband that I was okay, that I was doing a good job, that I was pretty enough and smart enough and sweet enough, and like not asking, why did you marry me all the time? Once I finally figured out how to like myself outside of his thoughts about me, outside of his validation, and just decided I like me, I like what I'm doing, I like who I am, I like where I'm going, I approve of myself, and I started being a lot nicer to myself. That's where I found that my marriage could be a lot more than just somebody I relied on to make me feel good. And you might be in that place right now, and that's okay. I want you to know that it doesn't take a lot of time of being nice to yourself and changing your relationship with yourself to see an effect. You are happier almost instantly when you start being kind to yourself instead of critical. And some people might think this is really bogus. Like, I don't have a relationship with myself, but you're talking to yourself all day long. You can't shut off that voice. And I think when somebody's talking to you and you're hearing it, I think that's a relationship. So I'm going to work on that. If that has to be there, if I have to be talking to myself, I want it to be something that's helpful. And right now, it's probably not, is it? And that's okay. Listen, I love you. I know that you're valuable. I know that you're important and you're unique and you're beautiful and you're so good and you're so smart and you can do so many things and you already have done amazing things. Like, you're perfectly lovable exactly as you are. And I know that as you work on yourself, you're going to feel those things. You really are. And you're going to be amazed at how it changes every relationship in your life, because you stop being so desperate for people to like you and you start really living. It feels like a whole new world has opened up to you. Like, you can have fun and you can think about other people for a change. I know we're not very meaning to do this stuff, but this is how we naturally go into relationships. So We've got to stop relying on him for your self-confidence. His thoughts about you are awesome. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. He loves you. He thinks you're amazing and you're doing a great job. But they can't be what you base your self-worth on, because we don't have 24/7 access to him, and we can't place that burden on him of your self-confidence. That's a lot of responsibility for him to carry, because he actually doesn't have any control over your feelings. Only you have control over your feelings. And he might try really, really hard to assure you that you're awesome, and yet he still might not get anywhere because you don't believe it yourself. So when you find happiness independent of him, you're going to have a really healthy relationship, and you're going to start seeing him for who he is, which is really fun, instead of just what he can give you. I know that sounds so bad, but we're being honest right now. That's how we see our husband when we're really in a bad place. Sometimes we have to rely on other people when we are in a really bad place, but also I think no matter where you're at, and especially when you're in a low place, that's where it's especially important to foster this healthy relationship with yourself, where you're especially kind to yourself, where you're especially patient and graceful and not critical. Okay? So the next time that he comes home, look for what you love in him. Find something that you're grateful for, and be confident in who you are. Just pretend like you're confident for just a minute, and look at him for who he really is, instead of waiting for him to say something to you. You say something to him and just see how it feels. Okay, we're just going to try it out. Okay, number 3 is, this is how to like your husband more, is notice when you don't like him. And I'm talking about when it's really hard to like him, when everything that he does is bugging you. And we know that this happens, but a lot of times we don't know when it happens because we're not keeping track. But I would encourage you to just get out a calendar and just write numbers 1 through 30, and every day just kind of track how you're feeling and start to notice, okay, when I'm getting really to this part of my cycle, I'm really grumpy about everything. The most important part of this is that you have a ton of grace for yourself, because your cycle influences how you feel so much more than we give it credit for. We think that we have to beat ourselves up if we're not feeling good, and then guess what? That makes us feel worse, and then we're extra grumpy. So here's the nicest thing you can do for yourself and for everybody else when you're in a part of your cycle where you're not feeling good. First of all, notice that you're feeling that way. And then your job is to ask yourself, what do I need right now? Do I need to go take a nap? Do I need to go take a shower? Do I need to call a friend? Do I just need to remove myself from people? There's no point in forcing yourself to be happy and nice all the time, because sometimes it's just a lot harder. And I think when it's harder, we need less interaction with people and more space. We wouldn't do this to somebody who was sick. We wouldn't expect them to be exactly themselves, their very best selves, when they're feeling sick, because we know that they don't have energy and their body is not feeling good. So why do we make ourselves do something that we don't expect of other people? We just have these really high, rude expectations of ourselves that we're going to be so nice and friendly, and we're going to work on ourselves all the time. And I just want you to know it's okay to give yourself a break when you feel like you're having a hard time, when you're in that part of your cycle where everything feels awful. So the most important part of this is recognize when it's happening and be really nice to yourself when it's happening. Okay, the last part of learning how to like your husband a little bit more is 2 parts. Number 1, see what it would be like if you supported him in his hobbies and in his life. look at the things that he likes to do and encourage him to do them and be genuinely happy and not resentful. Do not hold anything against him. Like, for instance, if he goes out on Thursday night with his friends, don't use that against him later. Just decide, of course he deserves to be with his friends. I hope he has a really, really good time. Just genuinely be on his team. Be happy for him. Encourage him to do things that make him happy. And then when he gets home, to say, hey, did you have a great time? Yeah, I actually did. Awesome. I'm so glad. I love you so much. And you just leave it at that. This plays really well into meeting your own needs and making sure that you're happy independent of him. Because when you're happy, then it feels like he's allowed to be happy. So don't put it on him to like make things up to you if he goes out with people. Make sure that you're getting what you need through yourself, and give him the opportunity to get what he needs too, and just support him and love him and see how happy it makes you to make him happy. The other part of this is choose to love him for who he is. Your husband is not perfect. We all know that. But also, your husband is perfect for you right now, exactly as you are, barring anything that's, forbidden. We're talking about normal, regular husbands. Your husband is awesome, and so are you. And when you realize that you're amazing and that your husband is amazing, regardless of being imperfect, you're going to be so much happier. So when we stop asking him to meet our needs that he's not able to meet, and we stop relying on him for our self-confidence, and we trust ourselves, we bring that self-confidence ourselves, and when we make sure that we remove ourselves when we're not feeling awesome, when we're in a bad part of our cycles, we support him in his hobbies, and we see how happy it makes us to make him happy, and choose to love him for who he is, you're going to like your husband a lot more. You're going to like your marriage a lot more, and you're going to like yourself a lot more. If you want more of this, and if you'd like to become my client and work on this in your life, I would love to chat with you. You can sign up for a free strategy session where we'll talk all about your life. You can bring, if you just want to work on your marriage, we could just work on your marriage. We do it for 6 months at a time, and we can talk about exactly what that would look like over a video call, and I would really love to meet you. I hope that this was really helpful today. I think you're awesome. I believe in you, and you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a happy marriage. And we'll see you next time. I am so glad we got to hang out today. Wasn't that fun? I want to tell you about 3 ways that you can get deeper relationships, better confidence, and happiness today. Number 1 is you can visit me on Instagram. I'm always on there leaving my best tips and tricks for becoming the person that you were always meant to be. Number 2 is you can go to thoughtbosscoaching.com and sign up for my emails. And number 3, if you're ready to get into it and actually change things for good, the very best way is to book a consultation with me. We're going to talk about your life. We're going to solve your problems right there on the call and make a plan so you never have to feel like this again. Can't wait to meet you. Sign up for a free consultation at the link in my bio on Instagram at thoughtbosscoaching or at thoughtbosscoaching.com.